So remove social media and get your life back. Seems easy enough. As somebody who's been off of social media for a little bit now, I've been able to see some pretty impressive benefits in my life. I feel like my life is starting to become mine again. If you have social media and it's part of your daily life, I think it's hard to feel that life is yours because you're spending much of your life viewing other people's lives. And I mean, that in and of itself is a very contrasting thing if you're somebody who wants control of your life. This sentiment is shared by so many people, not just like younger people, but I think older people as well who have fallen trapped to the addiction of having social media. So my social media journey, I was born in 1999. I was an outdoors kid. My neighborhood I grew up in, there was like always kids that lived on the block. We would go outside every day after school from, 2 o'clock till dinner, which was 6, 7 o'clock. And I mean, that was life every single day. We'd get home from school, grab a bite to eat, whatever, and then go knock on each other's doors. And we would climb trees, or we would skateboard, or we would have Nerf wars, or airsoft wars, or you name it, we did it. I think we had like a parkour phase we went through, because that's what little boys do. They like to jump off of things. Anyway, I was an outdoors kid. I didn't grow up watching many movies or shows. To this day, I haven't seen like a majority of Disney movies or classics. And I'm honestly grateful for the childhood I had. So my middle school years, 8th grade, I think was 2013 for me. And that's when I got an iPod Touch. And right at that time, Instagram was popping off. Vine just had come out. I think Snapchat too. I mean, as a 13-year-old with social media, following your friends on Vine and Instagram, there really wasn't that much harm. There wasn't like this sickening comparison or this like feeling of wanting to show off your life. I mean, we were all pretty just like posting stupid stuff on it, but that didn't last very long. Fast forward, I get a BlackBerry my freshman year of high school. My iPod Touch gets stolen. I kind of persuade my parents, let me get an iPhone. They weren't too happy, but I ended up getting an iPhone, I think at the end of freshman year. And by this time, Instagram's important as a high schooler. Snapchat's important, Twitter, Facebook. MySpace was pretty much dead at this time for my generation. Yeah, so the following years were just filled of normal high school life, but this social life online as well that you had to balance. Luckily, I had many extracurriculars throughout high school. I played soccer competitively. I was a Boy Scout. I had seminary for church. And so most of my time was spent well for a young boy in high school. But the gossip and the drama and the woes of social media were always present. And looking back, I realize it now, but at the time it was just normal. Like it was just normal to want to post selfies or to comment or to like or to do whatever, to just be online. Like that was just cool. Everyone was doing it, so you'd feel left out if you weren't. And social media is a game. I mean, I was very much into the game. The liking, the commenting, the posting, the scrolling. I was doing all of it, as everyone was. I got into filming with GoPros and making videos to show that my life was so cool and rad. and I mean, I did enjoy doing those things, but ultimately there was this sense of like, I need to show off. Like I want to portray, and I think I did have a good life, but I want people to see it. And then I think around junior years when Finstas became a thing, and I hopped on that train. I created a Finsta and we just started posting garbage on there, and it was just this way for us to be weird, and I don't know. It was a nightmare. And ultimately I wasn't proud of it, but it happened. That was just life. So high school ends, college starts for me, and that whole time I'm deep into social media. I got my, I don't know, 1,300 followers on Instagram that, I can't unfollow anybody because we had class together, or I gotta keep tabs on that person. And if I don't follow, I don't know, you just like become attached and have these like parasocial relationships with people you never even had a real relationship with, but because you were acquainted somehow, some way by someone, you just felt obligated to follow each other and like stuff. And that's just so stupid. Like, that's so dumb that most of us feel that way. And I think people who still have social media do feel that way. And I think they're realizing like it's pointless. Like, there's no reason to have people in your life that you don't need to. And it's not rude. There's nothing rude about removing people from being part of your daily life online. That's just the ebb and flow of life. And all of a sudden, boom, I leave the country for 2 years. I moved to Ghana, and I did not have a smartphone. I did not have any social media. My only contact to my family was I got to email them once a week from a local computer in wherever I lived. And that was it. I mean, we had like a Nokia brick phone that was call and text, and I think it had like Snake on it, the Snake game, which was sweet. But that was it for 2 years. No social media, no Instagram, Snapchat, no liking, commenting. TikTok didn't even exist when I had left. And that first month of not having a phone, the amount of times something funny would happen in Ghana, or there was something cool I wanted to record, and I would go like this to not even have a phone in my pocket, and have this moment of like, dang, I can't Snapchat this to my homies, or I can't post this on Instagram or my story. And that was so sad. And there was withdrawals for the first good while of just like huge FOMO and the desire to just show, look at me, I'm in Ghana, like, look at this food we're eating, or look at these crazy, kids like jumping off things or whatever it was. And you just couldn't, like, there was nothing to do. You just had to experience life. And so all those random people that I had kept in my life through social media forgot about me, and I ended up forgetting about them, and that's okay. And then the craziest thing happened. For the next 2 years, I got my life back. Like, I started living such a rich and present life. And describing the sentiment is very difficult to put into words, because it almost was like living a real life movie where things were just so rich and filled with emotion and depth, and life was just beautiful. Like, there was some really hard things I went through there, and there were some of the most amazing experiences of my life that I had there. And because of the lack of social media, because of the lack of a constant connection to an online world that doesn't matter, I was able to just always be present and realize that none of that stuff matters at all. If you were going through a horrific thing, your only option was to just go through it. Like, you just had to be there and sit with your thoughts. And I got into journaling and reading a ton, and there was no escape. There was no option to escape what you were going through. So the ordinary and mundane about life became unique and beautiful again. I mean, just sitting down and like sweating because it was so humid over there, and feeling the sun on your face, and being thirsty and hungry and tired, but then seeing some Ghanaian children like making stick toys to play with and using bottle caps to make wheels on little wooden cars. Like, it was just so cool to get to a point in life where there was no concern whatsoever about anything related to social media. So in October 2019, I came home. I didn't go on my phone for about a week or so because I just didn't want to and I was scared to, I think. Then I busted it out, dusted it off, and within a few days, I was back. Everything I learned about life and my new perspective on it and being present and living in the moment was gone. And it's 2023 now, and I've spent the last 4 years trying to get my life back. And so I've done a few things. I actually never had a Twitter or Facebook in high school or middle school or after, and I still don't. And so that helps. I deleted my Instagram in 2020, and not just like, deleted the app off my phone. Like I wiped my account, so I haven't had Instagram. And that was the biggest one for me because that one was just where issues were for me with comparison, with not feeling enough, with wanting to portray something which was so fake and disingenuous. And on top of that, it's softcore porn. Like there's so much bad stuff on Instagram. Some of the gnarliest stuff I've ever seen came from Instagram. And, it was hard. I was like afraid to do it because years of Instagram and my 1,000 and change followers gone, and how am I going to keep in touch with these people? It doesn't matter. It took about 2 or 3 weeks and I was fine. Like I got over it and have never looked back. And now, it's like not even an issue or a temptation to get it. Like I just don't care. I do have Snapchat and I do have TikTok. And I do spend a lot of time on YouTube. And so I'm trying to figure out those. So I'm making this video not because I have all the answers, but I'm in the process. And I think a lot of us are in the process of trying to figure out what works. And so hopefully we can come together and figure something out. I have tasted the life of being completely free from social media, and it tastes good. It's like, it is the way life is intended for us to live, 100%. And I know that. And the fact that I still have stuff that I waste time on is, I get frustrated with myself, but I'm like working towards it. And I can like feel it soon in my future where I will be completely disconnected again. And it doesn't mean you can't have these things or have them in moderation. I just know for me, they're pretty detrimental. And the time I spend consuming far outweighs the time I spend creating and putting stuff out in the universe. And I want to change that. And so yeah, it's been a battle, but one app at a time, I think is a good motto. One app at a time that you cold turkey, that you just wake up one day and go, I don't need this in my life anymore. There's a life of indulging and consuming, which most of us have lived, and there's a life of creating and being and living, which we've all tasted to some degree. And I think that's what we all want. I know I want the latter. So remove social media, get your life back, join me in this great cause, and yeah, we'll see you next time.